The feet are the foundation. They're designed to work really well, but we mess them up. It sounds like there's any number of problems it can cause.
Shoes, as we're used to them, are the problem. The
Okay.
whole thing is removing the cog from the machine. When you have an object, we'll call it an object, on your foot that is placing a wedge underneath your heel. I'm going to represent my heel as the back of my hand here.
Yep.
So lifting the back up, squeezing your toes together. And if you go home and take a look at your shoes today and you say, oh, I bought the wide version, take a look at the point of your shoe. If it tapers out to a point, if your toes aren't ending at the widest part before that taper, if your toes are not at that line, it's going to be constricting your toes to some degree, or at least not allowing for full spread. Heel in the air, toes constricted, and also you're going to notice your shoes at home have a toe spring. Your toes are slightly lifted into the air. And if your foot's supposed to be spread out and pushing down into the ground and flat, then the shoe is literally doing the opposite. It's lifting you, squeezing you, and lifting you.
You are listening to Dedicated Joe, the new dad's guide on the upending and transformational experience of becoming a father. I was pretty upset to learn that we're actually mostly damaging our kids' health through the shoes that we put them in. Putting them in shoes that are too tight for their feet actually create long-term health effects. It's a big change we can have on our kids not binding their feet. I've been on a long health journey myself in healing my feet. So I'm really excited to have foot health expert Barak Argov on the show today. This guy has a physical education degree from Wingate College in Israel and has been wearing barefoot shoes since 2011. He's worked with all kinds of different barefoot shoe makers and producers and sellers in Israel and around the world, and now has started the first barefoot shoe store in Austin. He's also a dad, 5-year-old boy, 3-year-old girl, so is making and designing his own shoes now, and he really breaks it down on how to set your kids up for the best success physically by choosing the right shoes early. So we're going to get off on the right foot and kick off this episode.
Beautiful morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for meeting me. Thanks for meeting me out here, Joe.
For sure. Not quite t-shirt weather yet, but this afternoon, probably.
It's absolutely lovely, especially for anything that you're doing outdoors. If you got a little chill on your skin, your body knows what to do, warms you up, and then it feels more invigorating.
Makes sense if we're going to talk foot health to be walking.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I'm just needed to get out of my tiny little store.
Yes, that's right. Get into the nature here.
Absolutely,
and
this is nice.
Shoes, so give these shoes a whirl. So
yeah, are you feeling those rocks pretty well?
Yes, they're awesome.
Have you been getting used to feeling every little rock and stone poking at you?
For sure. The wide and the wide toe box is really nice. Like it's very a lot of foot room in there. I got my toe spacers on too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so I put
that's dedication.
Yeah, the spacers fit in there. So
has that been bugging your joints at all using those toe spurs over a long period of time?
It's better. Really, when I don't wear them, I get more pain.
Oh, really?
So yeah, actually, like if my ankles or stuff start to hurt, I put them on and I feel better.
And then it feels better already?
Yeah,
that shows you that inherently it's the structure of the bones in the foot that end up helping with stuff like that. Because when your foot interlocks into what's called supination, it literally forms a Roman arch. Way? That's pronation. When you're going inwards, it's pronation.
Supination's out.
That's right.
Pronation this way.
And in your hand, it's the same anatomical terms. This is supination. You can imagine you're holding a bowl of soup.
Okay.
And then pronation's the opposite. And that's just a name for emotion. And it's the same thing in your legs. Pronation, supination. A lot of women will hear from doctors, oh, you pronate. You know, you're inwards.
Yeah.
And it can be if your shoe is messed up and it's squeezing your foot into a weird position.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's a good thing either way.
I have the pronation problem. That's what my ankles roll in.
Well, that's the thing. It's not necessarily a problem. And if how long did you say you were wearing barefoot shoes and stuff? And you and your daughter came to my store. You let me know.
Yeah, I've basically been barefoot my whole life in terms of trying to be barefoot. I discovered the barefoot shoe movement maybe 10 years ago. So been fairly dedicated since then, but had different ankle issues and mostly had ankle pain.
How did your ankle issues change when you started wearing barefoot stuff?
Well, I didn't have them before, so the ankle issues are kind of new. That's actually in the last few years.
I see.
So since then, I've been experimenting with the toe spacers and sometimes a little bit of lift in the toe to to make me more supinated.
Well, that's curious. What would you say the ankle issues started to? Where did they stem from? What caused that to happen?
There's really no explanation. I don't have an injury. I have no clue. I had a scan on it. There's nothing wrong with it. So I played around with maybe it's emotional, like I'm psychological in some way. But, I did a bunch of foot exercises. I got all my muscles on my feet really strong, got them even left to right. No explanation. Why it still
Interesting. So
still
no
hurts.
no increase or
So
decrease
all I
in particular
notice, all I
activities.
know is it feels better if I tighten my arch
Mhm.
and keep my foot, more pronated.
Supinated.
Supinated.
So the
Keep my
outside.
feet. Yes. If I keep my feet more supinated, it
Mhm.
feels better. And if I also had a practitioner notice that I stand to one foot when I'm standing, that I like lean, or do the little side lean. And it's almost always on the left. So I'm like, I wonder if I'm just like, while I'm standing, I'm messing up because I'm probably like standing supinated, pronated while I'm like, hanging out. And it's probably like,
Yeah, most people
stressing it
do.
there.
Once you lean, like you were showing me on one
Yeah.
leg, typically people are going to
It's
pronate
gonna
inwards.
go in,
They're not
right.
going to lean and like lean
Yeah,
outwards, and
exactly.
their knees going to twist inwards, and then you do spread out that foot more, it becomes a wider base, that
So I
becomes
put
your
a lot of
posted leg.
put a lot of tension on standing on both feet with like some arch flex. So it's not quite supinated, but like at least even. It's not pronated.
So the parts that are bugging you in your ankle, is that usually on the inner part of your ankle
That's
over
the
here?
outside.
On the outside it hurts you, and then
Yeah.
when you supinate,
It
that's
feels
when
better.
it starts to feel better?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
this
it
is
feels like it's pulling on it
interesting.
this way. So also if I gua sha, like if I rub the fascia, the pain goes away.
I see.
There's some kind of
That
fascial thing.
that must have to do with tightness, because if you're pronating, then the muscles on this side shorten, right? Because the muscle's pulling up this way, essentially. So it's probably just maybe some kind of impingement or just a tendon or muscle that's tightened too much. And then you say when you do the gua sha, it releases a little bit. No, well, good morning. How the heck are you?
So foot health. How'd you get into this? Tell me your story. Like, how'd you get into this whole movement?
I grew up in Hawaii.
Okay.
Me and my good friend Sam here, we both grew up in Hawaii, and we both know that a lot of folks walk barefoot around there, walk around with flip-flops. They call them slippers over there.
Slippers.
And I was just very used to it. I read Born to Run, which is basically the Bible of the whole barefoot movement, because I've never heard anyone quote any other book at any point in the years that I've been doing this besides Born to Run.
OG, for sure.
Yeah, and it was, of course, a great book. It enlightened a lot of people to a lot of good science. It's a great story that builds the science into it, so it's intriguing. You're following the story, but at the same time, it's giving you all these insights. And there was one page in that book, can't remember which character it was, that was wearing toe shoes, the Vibram Five Fingers. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I already got a weird looking eye. I'm used to people, especially kids, staring at me like, what's going on? So I didn't really care about the look of it.
Yeah.
And I just tried them. I had just moved to Israel at the time, and I was in a kibbutz yagul. It was this program where you learn Hebrew and you work at the same time. And I just started using the toe shoes, and it became my everything shoe. The first week, both my pinkies, even though I was used to being barefoot all the time, growing up in Hawaii and stuff, both my pinkies were sore for the whole week. But I started running in them pretty much right away, because the concept made sense to me. I'd been used to running kind of with the technique. I'd run home from school with flip-flops a few times. We did a lot of auxiliary exercise for outrigger canoe paddling, sprinting on grass and on sand and whatever. So I just kind of already had the motion. And then from there, just kept using them for my everything shoe. Ran 2 half marathons, a full marathon with barefoot shoes, with toe shoes. Went through my whole degree in physical education in Wingate in Israel. All the classes, the
this
basketball.
Is before they were a thing. Like, so you were really weird at this point.
At the point, yeah, people were looking at me.
What? Are you like a monkey?
And it's a universal thing, too, where people were... It doesn't matter if it was Israel or America. The people are like, what are those? They look at what the heck? And at the time, I would just tell people they're just running shoes. I didn't bug people about it or tell them, you should do it. It's going to be great for your foot health.
Oh, yeah, I did. I used it as a chance to give everybody an education.
Of course, this spiel. But at the same time, too, it's one of those things that it really is kind of like a conspiracy theory. Like if you really had the truth about 9/11 or whatever it was, and you really had it in your hand, and you're trying to give it to people, no, you need to know this.
And especially they're asking all the time, why are you wearing those weird shoes? What do those do? And I'm like, oh, well, foot health and blah, blah, blah.
And this is simpler to sell than 9/11 conspiracy. Just try it. Just try it.
Straight up biology.
Yeah, and then the fun thing, not always, but most of the time, people will find out, because you think, if someone starts using a more flexible shoe, just flexible, you still have a heel drop, the toes are still smashed to oblivion. It's just more flexible.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months of wearing that shoe, they go back to a stiff shoe. They're going to say, oh, that's not fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. They're going to feel weird about it. They might actually have aggravated problems because they're going back into something more stiff after they've made their foot more flexible.
It's probably the stiffness that I hate the most about any dress shoe, or it took me a while to find a hiking boot that wasn't like, a solid L. I'm like, what is that?
The hiking boots are the worst. Think about the people with the cohort with the worst or most frequent problems, I think both the worst and most frequent, is the military. That's, of course, has to do with boots, but it's also the intensity, of course. We can agree you don't sleep that much, you ruck a bunch, whatever it's going to be, but the boots don't help. Even a lot of the people who don't ruck as much or do those things still end up with plantar fasciitis and fallen arches.
And how silly. Because they could just, they're a standard issue, so just make a barefoot military boot, man.
This is not me quoting a specific, and they've tried in the military. I know that I've been quoted by someone who knew about the research well. I didn't find the article or look for it, so this is me kind of talking out of my butt. But I had been told by someone prevalent to the Israeli army when I was there that they were familiar with a unit that they had given them boots specifically designed to be, I think, at least zero drop. I don't know if there was anything else about it that was like more barefoot, but zero drop, so there was no heel raise in the back. And they did a period of time where they researched what was going on with that group, and they had 20% less problems, whether it was knee or lower back or whatever it was going to be. So it's pretty significant findings, and yet we still see that.
And then they still didn't expand that to everybody for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the concept because you're going to war, so you need something that is going to protect you from everything. I don't know, like it's not bulletproof.
But a heel doesn't protect you. I mean, what does a heel do? A wide toe, a narrow toe box. I mean, you can have the same exact level of protection.
Yeah,
it's just no heel, no wide toe box, no drop. You know, some flexibilities you can run and move.
Yeah, I'm trying to justify it in my head right now. Think like, okay, well, maybe this is the reason, maybe that's the reason. And I'm sure that someone can give an explanation.
People are scared of change.
That's the big
There's too many other irons in the fire. There's too many other, fish to fry or whatever. It's probably what it comes down to. So.
Especially when it comes to the military.
You tried the shoes for yourself, and then at some point you became an expert and a shoemaker and all that. Did you have kids before that?
I had kids when I was in Israel working at Barefoot Life, which is another barefoot store.
Okay.
I basically copy-pasted from the owner there, Shachar Rosen. It's a store in Tel Aviv. They have multiple branches now.
So after you became a big barefoot advocate and runner, you got a job at the store. Yeah,
it was kind of one thing led to another kind of situation because I wasn't looking to get into it. I still wasn't thinking about it a whole bunch at the time. The guy I met that got me into the store there, his name's Artyom, and he was on the train. I was on the train. I'd been riding the train, didn't have a car before I had kids in Israel, and he was wearing toe shoes.
You just ran everywhere like Forrest Gump.
Kind of, on the bike. I mean, not ran everywhere, but I ran quite a lot of places. It was very common for me. And then this guy...
Good buses there, too.
It was very good buses, actually. The whole transport system in Israel, public transport, respect those who were living there in a lot of senses. You kind of have to, because a car in Israel literally has a 100% tax by the government.
That's crazy.
So any price you're paying, you're paying double.
Discourage cars, basically.
And plus gas is $8 a gallon.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
And then my first kid kind of came along. No one educated me properly how kids are made, so he just showed up.
Poof.
And then, I had to keep working and keep food on the table, and it was worth it. It was just, when I'm going to the store, it was an hour and 15-minute commute using the train.
Wow.
That's one way. But it was the first job interview I ever had where someone sat down and asked me, what do you want? Because I had finished my degree in exercise science and physical education. I'd been using the toe shoes since 2011. I ran a marathon with them. I had tons of things I could talk about in the sphere. And then just every single person that come in, you could share details about how the foot absorbs shock and how the toes need to spread and this and that. And people were telling me stories about how their knees don't hurt anymore and their back feels better, and their mother loves them more because they're wearing barefoot shoes or whatever it's going to be. So I was just like...
Their credit card debt went away.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, I got to stay in this.
Yeah, you got pregnant, you had kids.
Yo, my friend. Yeah. It was just so much fun. And then I wanted to come back to America for a long time because Israel is great in so many ways, but I just missed being back in the States.
Yeah.
And when I came back here, I was meant to study physical therapy. I had been planning to do it. I'd put down, just like a good American, $17,000 on preliminary courses through the University of Phoenix online. And shamelessly, I will admit, I cheated on every single homework assignment and test. I looked up all the answers on Google, $17,000 to cheat and get the credits just so I could be able to get into the second degree.
I love it.
I didn't love it at all. And then when I went and watched physical therapists doing their work, because that's part of it, you have to do observation hours. It was so hard to stay awake.
Yeah, it was just so boring.
It was so boring. I mean, no offense. I mean, I knew that once I was a physical therapist, there'd be something to it that's like engaging because you're helping the person, you're directly with them. But like, wow.
It's one person at a time, an hour per person. Like, and you wanted to reach more people.
And more than that, you have to, that too. But it's like, I also knew after doing the Barefoot thing, the amount of good. I was a personal trainer also before the Barefoot store. The amount of good you can do for a person just by putting on a pair of shoes that's not ruining their feet and posture anymore is infinitely better than all the exercise sessions you can possibly do with them. Now, someone who is injured and needs to go to a physical therapist, I'm not ragging that at all. You need to go to physical therapy, you need to go to physical therapy. That same person who's going to physical therapy is now also wearing barefoot shoes outside, and let's say it was a problem in their lower back, and now they're in a zero-drop shoe. All the exercises that they're doing with their physical therapist, they're doing 10,000 steps a day after those exercises with proper posture. So it was just so significant to me, I couldn't not continue it here in the States.
Makes sense. And so you opened your store, a first ever barefoot shoe store in Austin.
Yeah.
It's super fun. Let's talk about it's biology. Tell me about the foot and what shoes do that are a problem and why barefoot shoes help.
Barefoot shoes are not anything special. The feet are special. Shoes, as we're used to them, are the problem. The whole thing is removing the cog from the machine. When you have an object, we'll call it an object, on your foot that is placing a wedge underneath your heel. I'm going to represent my heel as the back of my hand here. So lifting the back up, squeezing your toes together. And if you go home and take a look at your shoes today and you say, oh, I bought the wide version, take a look at the point of your shoe. If it tapers out to a point, if your toes aren't ending at the widest part before that taper, if your toes are not at that line, and it's going to be constricting your toes to some degree, or at least not allowing for full spread. Heel in the air, toes constricted, and also you're going to notice your shoes at home have a toe spring. Your toes are slightly lifted into the air. And if your foot's supposed to be spread out and pushing down into the ground and flat, then the shoe is literally doing the opposite. It's lifting you, squeezing you, and lifting you. So now the whole shape of your foot is off because of this object. Once you remove conventional shoes from your daily life, you could do that by literally just walking barefoot, but that's not practical because there's dog turds on the ground and there's glass and it's cold and hot.
Restaurant rules. I got kicked out of restaurants.
And if you do kind of go down to it, it's social, like restaurant is a thing, but like even just interpersonal, people have to, even if you're wearing toe shoes, people have to second guess for a moment. That was what happened with Archie on the train when I was telling you.
They judge you.
When he talked to me the first time.
You'll wear them on a date.
Yeah, that's what I wore on my first date with my wife.
It's a good test.
I had the advantage that she see my abs a few times, so I think she was kind of looking past the toe shoes.
If you're going to wear toe shoes, have good abs. It's a good lesson.
But if you're doing a social thing where you're going barefoot or you're wearing toe shoes, everyone needs a second to like make sure that you're not crazy. Yeah. Everybody. And often you can prove very quickly, no, I'm easy to talk to.
Binding their feet, but so then there's arch support in a lot of those shoes too. In a lot of those. So what does that do?
So arch support is essentially unnecessary. Once you get rid of the cog. The reason why people are approaching arch support in such massive numbers is exactly for that change in shape we were just talking about. Toes squeezed, toes lifted, heel lifted.
So it isn't necessarily a problem in and of itself. It's just unnecessary. Arch support.
Well, it can in fact become an added problem because if the shoe is constricting you in an unnatural position and you're starting to feel discomfort, surprise, surprise, or dysfunction, then adding that arch support, which is essentially supposed to try and reverse and get you closer back to that natural shape where things can spread out and push down, by putting that into the shoe, you might mitigate some of the discomfort, but you've essentially added even more immobility and inflexibility into your shoe. Your arch is meant to stretch and go back and forth. It's not meant to be just there all day long. During that supination and pronation we were mentioning before, supination, the foot is kind of locked and like tight, and pronation is all stretched out. When you step on your foot, it's initially supposed to stretch, and that's like stretching out a bow and arrow, which absorbs shock, and then afterwards it releases that energy for free. And if you're putting arch support underneath that arch,
you're blocking the bow from bending.
You're blocking the leaf spring. There's all kinds of shock absorbing, power absorbing devices we could use to put into analogy. All works the same. As long as there's something underneath there, it can't work as well as it should.
And then some shoes are also inflexible as well. So they don't let your foot move. So they're hard.
So you got the inflexible shoe. You got the insole inside the shoe that's making it even more inflexible. And if it helps with any kind of pain and things like that, That's a good dog. If you're using insoles that help with pain,
Yeah.
I am not saying, no, you're stupid for using insoles.
Yeah.
If it's helping you get through the day, if you have plantar fasciitis, or if you have collapsed arches, or if you have swelling in your feet and you need some kind of arch support in order to function, then use it. But it always needs to be kept in perspective that it's literally like some sort of cast, some sort of crutch, some sort of thing that holds things in a position and doesn't let them move naturally. And that's going to deteriorate things over time. Yeah. Ironically, it was Nike that started the whole barefoot movement out.
Huh.
They made the Nike Free in 2006.
I remember that. I remember the Nike Free.
Yeah. It's nice and flexible, relatively thin. I never tried it. I haven't I think I've seen it and twisted it a little bit before. It was pretty well flexible, but it started to have this little issue within their company, is that whoever tried it liked it so much that they wouldn't buy the rest of Nike's stuff. God. So even though they were selling it, they were losing money on other things, so they had to stop it. And then after that, of course, the full 180 was the toe shoes. That was the next thing that came out, which was the most barefoot you can get. Yeah. And then it kind of had to
too weird for Nike.
Yeah, too weird for a lot of people.
So a lot of times when I was talking to people about foot, it's like, look at a baby's feet is what I used to say. This is before I had kids, but now I have babies and our listeners have babies. If you look at a baby's foot, it looks like a duck. It's like the toes are the widest spot. It's like it's literally like a triangle almost, which is so surprising because you look at adults' feet, they're basically a rectangle at best. Sometimes they're, the opposite.
A diamond, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, the toes come in even and the heel comes out. It's like an oval. And so that was like really moving for me to think of, like, wow, if our feet start out like a duck, like a triangle, why shouldn't that be how our adult feet are? Is that right? That
100%.
If our kids growing up in barefoot shoes and never having constricted shoes, hypothetically at our age, will have the toes will be the widest part of the foot.
It's not even hypothetical. It's a guarantee, and you can see that in any population that uses shoes seldomly. You'll see often indigenous cultures, like in Hawaii, you will see a lot of folks with very wide toe spread. Some of them have problems with the toes being pressed inwards. Anyone who has a bunion, that's from shoes. That's exactly the worst version of the problem of not having that triangle, is if your big toe is forced inwards chronically for years and years. You won't necessarily develop a bunion.
It pops out. Like it's the opposite impact of pushing that bone out.
It certainly can. I had a gentleman in the store yesterday. He was, I forget the name of the company, but he creates a fermented tea. What's that kind of tea called? Kombucha. He's a Harmony Tea or something like that. Whatever. He has a few places in HEB that's stocking his stuff. He had very crazy hallux valgus with it looked like his toe was dislocated.
Wow.
And like he's really big bunion.
Bad bunion, hallux valgus.
But you could see, like from my experience, that he had a wide foot base, like the metatarsal area looked like it was supposed to spread out. And then whatever he was doing with shoes and stuff, like he mentioned he had an injury, so that was part of it. And he was in a cast for a long time and changed his walking pattern, and that's what caused the crazy bunion. But also on his other foot, his big toe had a tendency to turn inwards a little bit. And that is often genetic. People will talk about like, oh, it's my genes. It's true. But so is alcoholism. If you never touch a drink in your life, you're not going to have a problem, but you're more susceptible to it. So if you wear shoes that squeeze your toes in, that's what's going to start.
My mother-in-law's had bunion surgery twice.
Oh, goodness.
Which is just interesting. It's like, well, we'll fix it with surgery, same foot, and like we'll fix it. And then it just comes back because you're doing the same thing over and over again. And if there's a genetic predisposition, even more so. I have a little bit of the beginnings of one. My chiropractor, who taught me a lot about foot exercises, and I was already barefoot, but she was like, introduced me to the toe spreaders and the various like foot exercises you can do to have stronger feet.
What's your chiropractor's name?
Her name's Sue Muschet.
Maybe we talked about it. Yeah, that's right.
That's I forgot about.
I have her business cards in the store. Oh, she's coming by to grab toe spreaders in a couple days. She's amazing. She's so funny. She was the
first one to start with my feet. I came in for neck and shoulder pain, and she said, well, let's look at your feet. And I was predisposed because I was barefoot. I was like, well, everything I'm doing right. I wear barefoot shoes and toe shoes. She's like, yeah, well, you got bunions anyway because, because I hadn't uncorrected all the years of harm had done, right? I couldn't just go to the solution without kind of going the opposite direction. So the toe spreaders have really helped push that bunion back in. And now when somebody comes to her with bunion, she's like, don't get surgery, wear these toe spreaders. That'll push it back out and the bunion will actually recede.
Well, she'll probably and she's 100% correct. And she has seen she's put more toe spreaders on people than I have, 100%. She
Yeah.
really, really is an advocate of that.
Right.
And I'm sure she's seen folks that have been able to, even while still wearing normal shoes, use the toe spreaders and start to have some results. But I always tell people it's really a one step forward, one step back game if you're consistently using the thing that caused the problem in the first place, and then using the toe spreaders while you're at home. You're not doing nothing, but it's going to take so much longer.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as effective. So if you're able to get into wide toe box stuff and use the toe spreaders, that's like the perfect harmony. Yeah.
So we have these wide toes. Babies are born duck feet, wide toes, and then we put them in shoes like really early. I can't believe how many infants I see in shoes. They didn't even walk.
Yeah.
And they're wearing shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you don't even need shoes.
Little
put them
boots,
in socks.
and they're just
they literally can't walk.
Yeah.
And, like they're pre-shoe, and they're showing like tennis shoes for babies, but like especially toddlers and whatever. They're now in these shoes that are now pushing their toes in. We do that for 40 years, like us. And we're essentially foot binding, which is like causing this thing. So what does that cause? What other problems in the body can that cause?
Well, again, kids are so wonderful in the sense that they are so dynamic. Most of the time, even kids I see, or the feet of the kids I see that come in the store, or kids that I notice, and throughout life, even if they're using quote unquote normal shoes, then they'll have a decent toe spread. Like they're hard to ruin in a lot of sense. Usually the kids that are more active, and this also applies to adults. So kids that are doing gymnastics or ballet or basketball or soccer, anything where you're doing intense hip thrust into the ground, running, jumping, all this kind of stuff, while your toes are bound. If you imagine like a boxer or something that's doing a weird glove that puts his fingers in a strange position,
and then he's punching people with it,
and he's punching people and he's doing it constantly, he'll start to develop a weird change in his hands over time. Maybe that's a bad example because we can't really picture putting our fist in a weird position to punch with, but
it's kind of what it is.
That is what it is.
It's more dramatic, but it's...
And also the proof can be seen in simple pictures. Go look up a picture of Simon Biles, go look up a picture of Kobe Bryant, go look up a picture of Usain Bolt. Tons of athletes that are top tier, top level, doing intense vaulting, intense jumping and running. Boom, their toes are just smashed together, and that comes from the shoe and pushing really hard into the ground, and the toes just having to develop that structure. Otherwise, the body just can't adapt. So the kids that are more active, often you might start to see that they have the toes starting to face inwards and stuff like that. But they're much more pliable. Their body is still in the case where
it's not too late.
Yeah, anytime before 18, pretty much. This is not a scientific statement, but generally speaking,
you can reverse it.
Yeah, until I was 19, I was doing all my sports, track and field, that kind of stuff with regular shoes and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was by then I started with the toe shoes, and my stuff turned out okay. And that was my particular case. It could be different for everyone. When kids are especially little, like you were saying, with putting on shoes on kids when they're 1 year old, kids' feet are mostly cartilage at that point until they're like 2 years old. They change sizes every 2 to 3 months. Like up to the age of 3, they can go 6 to 9 sizes. It's scientific for all of them. You want to say to them, cut it out, but
it's like I buy a new shoe and I'm buying another shoe and I'm buying another shoe.
And that's just but it's during that time when things are turning from cartilage into structure and bone and things like that. That it's the most critical, that you allow for the sensory feedback to happen. It's kind of also how, like in child development mentally, it's often said that you are responsible or helping your child develop socially and mentally until the age of like 4. I'm quoting Jordan Peterson on that one.
Okay.
And then after that, it's the rest of the world's up to them. So in that case, if you're really talking about the kids, maybe the most critical time to really start them, or at least not put shoes on them, is like until 3 or 4 years old.
Toddler time.
Because at least you can get through a lot of that cartilage foot phase, and they can get into more stiff stuff, and then their body can deal with it. But a lot of parents will freak out because they notice their kid's foot looks flat. At any age. It can be when they're really little, it can be when they're 8 years old, it can be when they're 15. The best thing you can do, again, this sounds biased from the Barefoot guy, is put them in a proper shoe, meaning a shoe that's wide and thin and flat and flexible. And that doesn't necessarily mean also a toe shoe, or even Vivo Barefoot or Zero shoes or the Barefoot stuff. Even if you get your kid Ultra, where it is flat and wide, but still a thick cushion, there's still downsides to that. But at the very least, anatomy can sit the way it's meant to. Their posture can sit there. Exactly. It's like, so if you can get them at any point and then just encourage them to be active. Just encourage them to be active.
Feet be flat, like what is that?
That has a lot to do with growth. So if when kids are growing, if their foot's looking flat, it often has to do with, it's not always the case, but misproportions of certain bone lengths and positions. Kids can lean into themselves. they don't feel
So
pain like we do.
Just a phase.
If you and I stand like this,
yeah.
or like
Right.
whatever, like, just
Yeah.
not think about it. Then by tomorrow we're going, oh, Jesus,
Yeah.
we can't, we have to stretch and do a foam
Yeah.
roller for 3 days in order to feel better. They can do all kinds of weird stuff. They can run floppy.
They're
They're spongy.
yeah.
Their cartilage and all their joints can take these impacts. They don't feel any negative effects. So if a kid isn't typically doing athletic stuff,
Yeah.
or even if they are and they're still just lanky and stuff like that, they don't feel that they're leaning into tissues a lot. Their foot usually isn't feeling much either. If a kid's complaining about their feet, then of course you go and look for solutions. But remember, start with the shoe. If you see your kid's foot is flat, it could just be that because their femur is a bit longer than before, their leg is turned inwards more because they're more like doing this pronation thing, their foot is stretching out more. Because when you pronate, meaning your knee turns inwards or your whole foot turns inwards, does that thing that a lot of doctors will say is no good, that inward turn, that's when everything stretches and it can look flat. It can look like it's on the ground. They're just pronating.
Right.
If they're not complaining about pain, you don't need to put orthotics. You don't need to worry about it.
But the doctor would tell you to.
If the kid's complaining, I would hope. If the kid's not complaining and everyone's telling them to put supports, then that's fear-based. That's complete, like, and if the doctor's recommending it, I want, and if he gets money from the orthotics, it's
or they just love to find a problem. You bring them a problem, they love to give you a solution.
And that's always where I give doctors the benefit of the doubt, too, because you think, like, why are so many doctors still prescribing then certs if it's so harmful, if it can cause things to be more stiff, it can cause kids not to develop correctly. They're attacking symptoms. They're trying to help with pain. They're trying to help give you a solution now. If you go to a doctor and you have high blood pressure, he may give you some medicine to manage your blood pressure. If he's a good doctor, he'll also tell you, listen, you got to eat cleaner, you got to go to bed earlier, you got to start exercising more. And those are the most significant things you got from that visit, not the medicine he gave you. That was to manage what's going on now. If you're just taking that medicine saying, thanks, I'll see you next time I need a refill. So the doctor's looking at orthotics, if they are really approaching it
like a drug.
Like a drug. The only problem is the underlying thing of like if the sleep and the eating right and the exercising was instead replaced by you need to start walking barefoot, or you need to start using something that proper range of motion, you need to start using a toe spreader. That would be the parallel for that kind of example. And typically there are more and more doctors, physical therapists, doctors, all kinds of people who are recommending to folks, you need to get, a lot of folks will say you need to do this first so that the rest of it is more effective. That's the significance of having the proper foot function in this case. So I guess I kind of went off on a tangent, which I always do when you asked about the kids and
but like, the feet are the foundation. I mean, everything goes down to the feet. We're designed to walk long distances. Like, my understanding that for much of our history, we would just follow animals until they collapsed.
Essentially.
We would just run them down.
You would have to run. You couldn't just walk. They'd get away from you otherwise.
But then you track them, and they run and rest, and then you track them, and then they run and rest until they literally can't run anymore, but we could keep going, and then we just, like, walk up to them and, like, kill them or whatever. And before we had projectiles.
Exactly.
Before we could projectile hunt, we would just walk for a long time. Well, we're designed to walk.
At least as far as the hunting is concerned, you would have to move fast. If not running, you're right. You maybe stop and track and find it.
There's some times we'd run as well.
But walking is, we do massive amounts of it.
So the feet are the foundation. They're designed to work really well, but like we mess them up, it sounds like there's any number of problems that can cause. Particularly, there's a lot of back problems in America. Like, it's like everybody has back problems. Like, pain is like the new thing, and they want to do surgeries, and they want to do scans, and they want to do painkillers, and people go to chiropractic 3 times a week, and massages and like acupuncture, all this stuff. And it's like, that was what I was when we went to that chiropractor. The first thing she said was, let's look at your feet, because if your feet aren't right, there's no point in treating the rest of it, because it's the foundation. So any listener that has other pain in their body, this is something to do. It may not solve it all, but at least it's a place to start, and it might solve it all. So remarkable how many things that get solved just by that. Yeah,
it's a huge thing for me. Like you mentioned that stiffness in shoes was your biggest kind of like that thing that bugs you.
Oh, I hate the stiffness, For
me, it's the heel drop. If I have a heel drop, I'm already have kind of a lordosis as it is. My lower back has a kind of a real intense curve. And then if I put on a heel drop, then that always gets exacerbated.
And you're the Barbie doll foot.
And you have no choice, because once you have that wedge underneath your foot, you can't just stand anatomically correct. Nobody just corrects just from their ankle and that's it. You're not just pointing your toes a little bit more. Your entire body has to suddenly have this shift so that you're not leaning forward to a point where you're going to fall on your face. Some folks, it could come from the neck. Some folks, it could come from the lower back. Some folks, it's from the hips, the knees, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So all these issues that people are experiencing, they're very real. They're probably for legit reasons, overuse, this kind of thing. But once you have something like that, that wedge underneath, then yes, you have all these corrections, not correct corrections that you do in order to stay up straight that can cause tightness and overuse and all that kind of thing. And then also, if you're not able to feel the ground, if the shoe is not flexible, if your feet can't participate in doing all kinds of little undulations and movements, then all the forces that were meant to stop in your foot, they don't stay in the foot. They continue onwards. And so the bigger things are going to have to take care of it and distribute amongst themselves all the work that the feet were meant to do, which is a lot, by the way. It's a lot of work.
Well, I was happy. I've always liked being barefoot. My daughter loves being barefoot. Naked too, for that matter. She'd wear no clothes if it was up to her. So she's 7.5 now. She's, very free spirited, and shoes come off immediately. And it is really hard, finding a shoe for her, because she essentially wants to feel like she's barefoot, and even most barefoot shoes still feel like shoes. And so, like, there's this one brand, there's the Wildling sandal is like, she'll wear that anything above 40 degrees. If she doesn't wear socks, she hates socks. She's never liked socks. So having a shoe that has to wear socks, that's another big problem, because she doesn't want to put socks. And if you know how hard it is to get a shoe on a kid, try to get socks and a shoe on it. It's like doubly hard. And so she's never liked socks. We have to find shoes and she wants to take them off immediately. So it's like they're on and off all the time, especially at school. They want them to wear them outside for safety or whatever, but inside they don't care. So they're off all day, which is nice that the school she goes to allows for that.
That is nice that they don't give a crap for that.
Yeah,
good.
They probably prefer it. It's probably cleaner. But outside they make them wear them, which is a little annoying to me, because it's a playground. What are they going to do? But that's the rule. Her preschool allowed them barefoot all day long, which was nice.
Yeah, it just takes one parent. One kid gets a thorn in their foot from the playground, and the parent says, that'll be $50,000 to $100,000, please, whatever.
Right. You didn't make them wear shoes. Yeah. So her 8-kid preschool was like barefoot all day long, and which is, like you said, till age 4. That's pretty good. So that was nice. So she's always been barefoot, and then I knew about the foot health thing, so we've always been really mindful of that. But for other parents, like, what do they look for in a toddler kid shoe? How do they know if it's foot healthy or not?
The easiest thing, for the most part, is to just kind of go by brand. Famously, you got Vivo Barefoot, you got Zero Shoes. Who else makes good? Splay. You got. I don't think Merrill makes them yet.
Because a lot of those brands don't make...
That's a good point.
A lot of those don't make baby and toddler shoes. So.
Yeah, I know Vivo Barefoot makes great toddler shoes. They are not the most budget-friendly. Vivo Barefoot never has been.
Especially because you're changing them every, 6 months. So it's like, there's so many others. There's like these sock shoes now that like seem kind of cool, because they're just very flexible.
Yep.
10 Little has become really popular. Do you like 10 Little? Have you looked at those?
I have not.
They're supposed to be barefoot. They weren't as flexible as I would like. They were they're wide toe box and zero drop.
Yeah.
So sometimes they were firmer, so you just had to depend it on the pair. But they'll like some of those.
So to your question, that's exactly the things you're saying. Look for the terminology.
Okay, yes.
Zero drop.
Zero drop.
Wide toe box.
Wide toes, which you can just see in the picture how wide it is.
Yeah. I would say thin-soled, but oftentimes if you just get something that's flexible enough, and flexible enough to me means that you can fold it up into a ball, essentially, especially if it's a child's shoe.
Yes, if you can wad
You're not going to, if you can wad them up, then generally that's going to mean that the sole's thin, thin enough, because a thick sole isn't going to let you wad it up. Maybe it'll let you bend it pretty well, and that can be better than nothing. But for kids especially, that feeling of touching the ground, of having everything, I'm not a spiritual guy in any sense. I don't have that in me. I'm not saying this from a place of we need to be connected to the earth. If you're wearing a shoe that doesn't have grounding, which is a different subject completely, if it's not grounded, meaning that there's a loud flow of electricity into the ground, you're not grounding. Yeah. You're stepping on the ground and feeling the ground, which is allowing for sensations going through your muscular system and what's called proprioception, where your muscles talk to each other in order to coordinate. Yeah. It allows them to, like we said before, stop the forces. No, not electricity. It's just the electricity from your own body, feeling the change of the...
to the earth. Okay.
Yeah, like being able to feel what you're stepping on, just like a glove. Yeah. If you're going to do anything, like you generally, even if it's a welder's glove, you need to have some kind of tactile sensation to do what it is that you're doing. Yeah. So your feet need tactile sensation in order order to manage forces. Because if you're balancing, if you conceptualize how crazy it is that we can stand up straight on such tiny surface areas,
Yeah.
the amount of information they need to gather in a split second so that everything doesn't start falling off balance. Because you can admit, if I'm standing here and a breeze tries to blow me over, and I correct it pretty quickly, it's no big deal. But if you push me again, and I forgot to correct early, then there's a lot more damage the further out I go. So the quicker you can correct, the more you can feel the ground and then start to get that information.
Instant. Yeah.
And that's what's going to make kids more coordinated through their whole body.
So like a lot of soles are rubber, which is like intentionally ungrounding, like we use rubber to ground electricity. So are you saying that the grounding piece, there is a biological...
Yeah, grounding.
Some people think of that's really woo-woo. Like I put the metal, the metal stuff that goes to the bottom, or but if it's fabric, it's not insulated.
Well, yeah. So rubber doesn't allow for the flow of electricity.
Right.
If we're talking about grounding, it's really opening up a whole nother can of worms. That's fascinating. When you ground, it just means that you're touching something that allows for the flow of electrons.
Okay. So these Vivos, or these...
Those are our own shoe, the Cruiser.
Yeah.
They are not grounded.
And these are not grounded. So these are ungrounded shoes.
You ungrounded.
And also, everybody loves the Vibram sole. A lot of barefoot shoes use the Vibram sole. Is that also ungrounded?
Ungrounded. It's not grounded. So
those are all rubber.
Yeah, it's just rubber. There's no conduct. Exactly. No electricity is going through.
I've seen little devices where it's like a little piece of metal that goes from the bottom into the shoe, and it like is. Yeah. You can add grounding to a shoe.
Yeah, and that really is, it's like grounding makes it sound like there's an exclusive piece that you put in. It's not. It's if you're touching the ground right now. If we were walking barefoot on the ground right here, we're grounded. You go into a pool, into the ocean, you're grounded. The water allows for electricity to flow through you. So with grounding shoes, essentially there's just usually what they'll put in is a bit of copper, and they'll put that in, and then it'll also be attached to the outside so electricity can flow through you. And the benefit is that a lot of positive electrons leave your body, and those little electrons are always looking for an atom to attach to.
I guess how important is you don't have any of your shoes right now. I mean, I barefoot a lot of the time, so I sort of think, when I'm wearing shoes, it's the exception, not the rule. So I haven't worried about it too much.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So the same with my daughter. I haven't really worried about it.
If you guys are walking on the dirt, walking on the grass outside, touching the world, then you're grounded for a significant part of the day.
Those wildlings are. They're probably rubber. Everything.
There's the cloth in between the pads. Maybe there's a little bit of ground there, but probably not that much.
Yeah, if you're separate from the earth.
Yeah,
so
there's still some rubber between you and everything else.
And then wide toes, you can wad it up in a ball. It says zero dropper. At least you can see that there's no heel.
No heel.
You can often see that in a picture. And
after that, it would be
that's about it. There's arch support, but that's zero drop also. So there's no little
exactly. Yeah, you don't want the arch support.
The first thing she does in her shoes, take the insole out.
Whip it out of that's a true barefooter right there.
She's like, what is this thing? Get this out of here. So she's hardcore, man. She will not. I saved the soles. I don't know why, because I'm like, she's never.
I'm like that too. I'll save anything just in case for later.
When she wants to put them back in.
I've driven Sam crazy with some of the stuff I've kept.
Yeah, but we love Wildling. That's like one of our favorite brands. They're made in. They're a German brand, and that's her absolute favorite shoes. All the shoes they make, she loves. They're fabric based, so they're not good for rain or snow. Like they're not waterproof whatsoever. They have warm shoes like for winter, and she loves those. There's a new Amazon brand I'll have to put in the thing. There's like $22, and she loves these shoes.
Yeah, if it's really wide and flexible and light and all the stuff we're looking
super
for,
cheap, which is nice because you're changing them out so often.
And if it's for kids too, if you can find options like that where it's affordable, fantastic.
And they like them. And that's for her. It's like the willingness.
Exactly.
So she's very, but like, sometimes she's got to wear snow boots, or she wants to wear dress shoes, or she wants to play dress up and wear little high heels. She's got these little heels she wears sometimes. Does that matter? How strict do we need to be?
Oh, no. Absolutely not. If she's playing a little dress up and stuff like that, I'll put it to you this way.
She wants to wear them out to a movie or something, like, okay.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way.
They're
rock climbers.
Yeah.
Rock climbers will wear shoes deliberately that are super narrow.
Yeah, to put the
and
toe
pointed.
In
Exactly. So they can poke their toe into a specific spot and focus all their weight on that little spot, because otherwise you fall and you die. That's not great for your feet. But if you're only doing it while you're climbing and the rest of the time you're wearing normal shoes, that's going to be the best. Ronaldo, the best soccer player in the world, is the same thing. He wears barefoot stuff all the time, frequently. Well, I don't know about all the time, but frequently. When he's training and just like throughout his day for comfort. When he's going out in his $40,000 Italian suit or $40,000 Italian suit and probably wearing something that is not barefoot and very nice and pointy. And
so they have some really cool barefoot dress shoes now.
I have Tom Sullivan in the store now. If you'll be in the neighborhood, come check it out.
You just search barefoot shoes. I mean, it used to be so limited, and it's just like this style is no longer a limitation for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like you can get some really great ones.
Yeah, the market grows organically because, like, you know, people have been wanting things that look nice for a while, but the more people try barefoot stuff. Like we were talking about earlier about if it's just flexible, they'll just want flexible. So once you get to the finish line, which is barefoot shoes, it sucks to wear anything else. So now there's a demand. There's, okay, I still want something barefoot, but I'm a lawyer. I need to show up in court. I need something that looks good. Right. You got Tom Sullivan. You got Rod. You got the Glenn from Zero. All kinds of
neat looking. Briefly, your foot bounces back. It's what you do most.
Yeah.
Same with the kids.
Yeah, just like anything.
So I wear my Renaissance Festival boots. They have a heel and they have all this stuff, you know, but I'm like, I'm wearing them for like, you know, a couple hours at a Renaissance Festival.
You might feel it the next day, but yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah, like I actually wear my toe spacers helps. They barely fit in there, but they do fit.
That's surprising that you would tell me they fit at all.
Yeah, they actually barely fit. Sometimes I buy a size, you just sort of taught me to buy a size too big.
With toe spreaders?
Yeah, well, you just in general that like you were showing me that.
With the space in front of the shoes.
If it's touching your toe, it's almost too small.
Yeah, because that's what the shock absorption.
There should be like a little bit of space in between the toe. So I actually went and sized up my other tennis shoes, and they feel way better now. I'm
Perfect.
Like, oh, okay.
Perfect.
They were the right size, but like now I go a size bigger. So with a boot or something, I might just get one size up, and then my toes fit and.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you have a little bit of space in front of your toes, when you're inside of a shoe, that's not for when you're standing there measuring the shoe or even the couple steps you're taking in the shoe store.
Right.
When you're actually walking throughout the day, the foot is going back and forth, getting longer and shorter every step. It works just like the leaf spring of the truck. I like to show people in the store. Leaf spring has like kind of a U shape. And then when you push on it, it stretches, absorbs the shock that's going into it and bounces back. Your foot is the same thing. So if you're have a little bit of space in front of your toes, then always, no matter what, you're going to be able to use that range of motion. And what's fascinating is happens to pretty much everybody adults typically, when they're using barefoot shoes for a period of time, year, 2 years, they'll go up half a size to a size because their foot,
it's bigger.
It's not that it's getting bigger. It's going back to genetic potential.
I bet that's what's happened with me. I was like a 10.5 for years, and now 10.5 feels like I'm in a binder.
Yep.
Even a barefoot shoe.
Yep.
So
you can imagine.
I'm now 11. I'm even buying 11.5 these days. So that makes sense that they've gotten bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm happy to hear that you've made the transition to the bigger size, because a lot of folks will deny it too. Like, no, I've always been a 10.5, and then they just keep themselves in that cast forever.
I love it. I wanted to be comfortable. So one of the best advice I ever got was to wear my toe spacers while trying on shoes. That basically, if they don't fit your foot with a toe spacer on, then they're too tight.
That's actually a great idea.
And so, like, if you're going shoe shopping, just bring those spacers and try them on. And maybe it's a different style, or maybe it's a larger size. But, you know, and a lot of stores have at least one or two, you know, if you tell them what you want. They may not even be advertised barefoot. They're just like simple or like minimalist, that's another term. I told them I want a minimalist shoe or a minimalist sandal. And so they figured that out.
I think you may have just given me a new technique for selling toe spreaders.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, make sure that it's the right width. You got to try on the toe spreader.
Like try this on and
it feels pretty cool with the toe spreader, right? Yeah.
Just wear them out in the store, you know? Do you sell them at the store?
Of course, yeah. The toe spreaders, yeah. We actually made our own.
Oh, really?
It's basically... It's a very common design with the toe spreader itself, but I just added in inserts that go into the little holes by the big toe.
Oh, that's great.
So you can customize the spread, because some folks, like that gentleman yesterday that I had in, he had a huge space between his second toe and his big toe.
Yeah.
And whenever I encounter folks like that, but they also have the bunion problems, it's actually more common with those guys. It would drive me mad, because the toe spreaders that I had on offer at the time was not enough for them. And
I'm already needing spacing.
Yeah.
The correct toes, which is sort of the original, they have a little bit of space in the big toe, but I've maxed that out and I need more. Like so like I'll have to check out yours, because that was, you know, pretty. And then they're sometimes out of stock and they're shipped slow. Like, so correct toes is great.
Yeah, they're physical therapists. I don't know if they're real like distributors and stuff.
They're not CPG product people like us. So so that's cool that you have those. So your kids, have they been in the barefoot stuff their whole lives? How old are they now?
3 and 5.
Okay. Yeah.
Made me think for a sec there. Oh boy.
Right. And has there been any challenges there? Any resistance? No. It's just normal.
Kids are easy, man. Especially when it comes to barefoot shoes. I mean, that's going to be the
kids are easy.
most comfortable
said by
option.
Nobody ever. For shoes.
Well, when it comes to, yeah, you're right. That was a silly thing to say because they can generally not be easy. But
for shoes,
when it comes to shoes and it comes to barefoot stuff, I've never had them say, I don't like this one, I don't like this one. Whatever I bring them is always, this is what Dad brought you, this is what you got. They didn't kick it off and fight me and resist.
It's the
they
tight, uncomfortable shoes they don't like.
Yeah, and they've never experienced that. I've never ever had
the kid complaining about their shoes, it's because they're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
never had that issue.
Well, there's not much we can determine for our kids. We can try to set them up the best we can, teach them stuff, offer them things, but we can't control how they turn out. Like there's so many choices they have to make and their own destiny. And so, but I think when we think about what we can control, shoes before 4, when you think about the impact of the lifelong impact of that, or even shoes after 4 if you can, but even like you said, just before 4, we have 100% control. We put they can't even put on their own shoes or buy them, let alone, and they have very few style preferences at that age. And so like the idea that we can control that and that can impact their future
absolutely
is so critical. And so to me, it's like if there was like a short list of things every new parent should know, it's like, don't bind your kids' feet. It's like in the top 5.
And the fun part about like this whole subject too, and for anyone along the scale, whether it's the parents with the young kids or an adult, is as the barefoot guy, I don't want you to think about your feet. Right. I don't want them to bother you. I don't want them to be an issue in your life. I want them to just work just like your hands hopefully always have.
They take you where you're going.
They take you where you're going and nothing hurts.
Thank you.
They actually have barefoot cycling shoes now. I'm going to have to get those in the store.
Oh, nice.
But it's like, it shouldn't be a subject that comes up, really. So that's the fun thing, is that if you do decide to start putting barefoot shoes, you can call them minimalist shoes like you did, but shoes that are wide, flexible, light, thin on your kids, it's a struggle you're taking out of your life. Because like you just asked, and you made me think about it just now. I've never ever had the struggle with my kids of I don't like the shoe, I don't take the shoe. Whatever I would bring home, it was always barefoot, and they would use it, and that was it. There was never I'm kicking this off because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Now, other people's kids are more sensitive, like your daughter. Like that could be the case, that she's just sensitive. She wants to be super barefoot.
Yep.
And that's totally fine. But it's not something that should bug us too much. So once you're getting the right shoe, that's it. The subject is case closed. Like your kids' feet are going to be fine. You can focus on other things that you need to do for them. And, as long as you're getting something that is the right color that they like in your price range, what have we lost?
You tested her size by kind of pinching her toe. And what you're saying is there should be you should be able to pinch past the toe. Is that right?
You always want to have it's like the rule of thumb, literally, and something around a thumb in front of your toes.
The thin part?
Yeah, you want to go on the cloth area, so the sole here doesn't really count. It's not 100%. It has to be a thumb.
There's my toe, and there's my thumb, and there's the end. That's about right.
Right.
This is the size you said I should have.
Yeah.
So that's a lot bigger than most people think.
Yeah.
Most people think if it's touching the toe, or they do the on the bottom to see if it's the right size. I do that a lot with her, because if her toe's sticking out on the bottom, you can bet it's too small.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the inside,
And it's mostly a touch test kind of thing for the toes themselves. With kids, obviously, it's harder. You can't ask them, "Hey, do you feel your toe at the edge?" They're going to be like, "I want chocolate. What are you asking me questions for?"
Yeah, for sure. So.
But as long as you have a little bit of space so that things can operate, the kid's going to grow too. So it's really, with kids, what I do when they're in the store is I'm going to try and poke at the parents to take an even bigger size a lot of times,
right?
So that the shoe will last longer. Because
which is great for us, as long as they don't trip over it.
Exactly.
So it doesn't fall off.
So I tell the kids, put on the shoe and now go run, because I got this hallway. Let me see how you run.
We play Get You.
Yeah.
Which I chase her around. This is how she tries all her shoes. We play Get You game, which has been her favorite game.
I remember you guys did that in the stores, right?
I'm gonna get you. And they love being chased. It's biological pride. They practice being chased by animals. And then if she can run and not fall, basically, like if it doesn't trip her up.
Yeah.
And she can also say, "Oh, they feel too tight." Like then also she'll know if they're tight, if her feet hurt after running around.
Yeah. If your kid has that extra space in the shoe that you could feel like, oh man, this will totally last 6 months at least, and the kid's not complaining, and you don't see that they're tripping over themselves, I think you're golden. Like just go for it. And that's also why I tell people when they come to the store, you got 30 days for a full refund. Usually shoes are more cleanable than people think after even a short period of time. So if they go and they take it to school and the kid's tripping over the feet every other couple of days, it's like, okay, let's switch it out, bring it to size. So.
Well, where can people learn more? I mean, you referenced the book.
The Born to Run.
Born
Yep.
to Run book as the philosophy. As far as learning more about your shoes or other Barefoot shoes, where can people go?
There's so many sources. Of course, our website has some stuff talking about the feet and things like that, but
yeah, which is still
the Foot Collective are just, they're amazing. They have such great courses. They talk really in depth. They're kind of, they can often be for nerds like me who just like, they have courses that are 6 hours long.
Yep.
And when you understand the structure, the way that they discuss things, it's just like, oh my God, this sounds great.
Correct.
But
Those has some great products.
They also have great products, and they have some good
well
information.
Some exercising videos and things for how you build your foot health, because sometimes you need to build the foot muscles.
Yeah.
Once you switch to barefoot, it's not always comfortable right out the gate.
Yeah, I try and make.
And what's your guys' website?
It's alwaysbarefoot.com.
Always Barefoot.
I have my work shirt. It's just cold out today, but my work shirt's underneath. But it's like ALLWAYS.
Okay, and there's the store in Austin for anybody who comes in town.
Yeah, if anyone's in town, and also just phone calls. It's like I love to answer questions, but when it comes to doing your research about the whole subject, there's more and more. Any barefoot shoe company will have their own sources to show you this is the kind of thing. Yeah. There's the Shoespiracy. There's a video talking about it.
Shoespiracy.
That someone made. I think that's what it's called.
That's a good name.
Yeah, that'd
be a good store name too.
Yeah, the truth is the truth. There's a couple ways to explain it. There's a lot of ways to come at it, and everyone has their own version, whether it's more consolidated or much more at length, like the Foot Collective. If you're looking to read about this stuff and learn more about it, it's fascinating. It's just so much fun to learn about how the arch really does support us, and that it doesn't need support underneath itself, and what happens when your toes can spread, and what happens when you can feel the ground. It's just for posterity's sake and for the joy of it. We do a lot of videos ourselves. I made a 12-minute long big old video on my website talking about why normal shoes are bad. Also, I can go on at length for things like that
with diagrams and stuff.
But I always
think people
like
really
to
just see some images to understand it.
Yeah, but
you cut open a shoe in your store. That's really powerful to see what's inside. Like, oh my God.
That was my dad's shoe. He was a Hawkeye, and he was like, "Yeah, I tried these once and I hated them. You can do what you want." They were like brand new. Yeah. I was like, "Sweet,
crazy."
But in general, like, I'm always the one who's poking at people. Like, okay, yeah, once you learn about it, it's great. I want you to forget about your feet. I want you to have something on your foot that just lets you live your life pain-free, relieves you of all kinds of other stuff. Inevitably, a lot of times if people do have pain in their back and their knee and suddenly it goes away because they start wearing the proper footwear, then they feel like researching it more and talking about it more. But it really all just boils down to the simple fact that if you put a cast on any part of your body, doesn't matter what part it is, it's gonna get weaker. You take it off, it gets stronger. Yeah. And so just start using barefoot shoes when you can, and then things get better.
Take the cast off your feet.
Take the cast off your feet.
Yeah. Well, this has been really great, really informative. Love these shoes. You're contributing to the movement.
Yeah. Thank you for doing what you do too.
Educating Austin, and let's stop foot binding.
Let's do it, man. And let's stop feeding our children garbage as well.
Yes, right. It's
my
like
wife was
sugar
stoked
and
to
shoes.
hear about your brand.
Yeah, it's like don't feed them desserts before 2, and don't bind their feet. You'll be pretty good. So awesome. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you around. I feel like
we're
pretty much neighbors.
I'm gonna send a bunch of people over, and we'll get the world back barefoot.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming out
too. Yeah.
Now, where do we go from here? That was the question.